Hey, Donna Schwartz here. In this video, I want to talk to you about how to maintain your saxophone. This video is good for obviously saxophone players, but also for music teachers, especially if you're teaching beginners who you need to tell them this information so that they can maintain their instrument properly so that it'll work for a long period of time. So basically I'm going to be talking about cleaning out the neck, swabbing out the instrument, also about cleaning out the mouthpiece as well. So just played. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to take off my reed. I'm going to wipe off the excess moisture from it. Just 2 fingers is fine. Just like that. Do it a couple of times. That's what pants are for. Parents love me when I say that. Then I'm going to take my reed and carefully put it away. I store mine in a Wits container, Wits waterproof container with original Listerine. I also use the Reed Juvenate, which is great too. Now my reed is safe, which is great. The next thing that I do is I want to get the moisture out of the mouthpiece. Okay, so first thing I do is I take this mouthpiece saver. I do not store this in the mouthpiece. Why? Because if you store this in there, there's a lot of moisture in there. It's going to remain wet. Things are going to grow, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to swab it out this way just once. I'm going to pull my mouthpiece off, shake it out. I'm going to swab it out again over here and swab it out on the bottom. Here's another alternative to the mouthpiece saver if you can't find it. Again, it's the HW mouthpiece saver. They also make a pad saver, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. You could take your swab. Okay, I like to use a silk swab. So let me unravel this. There we go. Now you may think this is a little bit too large for the mouthpiece. It is kind of large, but if you don't have anything on you, this is a good option too. You could also have like a clean painter's rag or something like that, and you could wipe out the moisture from this end and from that end as well. Perfectly fine. But here's what I tell my students in school. You could also use your swab. You want to run the swab through the mouthpiece before you run it through the rest of the horn. So I'm just going to drop the weighted end in, and I'm just going to pull the swab through. There it is. And then I carefully place my mouthpiece away in the case. Okay, now the next thing is going to be the neck. There's 2 ways to approach swabbing out the neck. I could use this swab again if I want to, but I want to show you something else. Let me get this swab out of my way. The other thing I wanted to show you, well, the first thing I want to tell you not to use, they do make neck savers. All right, HW makes one. I think Rico makes one. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the HW products much better. The other pad saver, neck saver types of products, the material on that tends to get built up in the saxophone to the point where, like you've got fuzz sticking out and all that kind of stuff, and it impedes with the pads and everything like that. Not a good choice as far as I'm concerned. And with those pad savers that are not HW, they get stuck. They get stuck in the horn. The end piece, the black little end piece plug pops right off, and you have this like wire stuff sticking out, and the pad saver stuck in the horn. So those aren't the best options to cleaning your horn. I'm not going to lie, when it comes to cleaning my horn out, most of the time I use the HW pad saver if I am in a rush, especially at a gig where I may not have time to run a swab through. I'll stick the pad saver in, and then when I get home later, then I'll swab it out. Okay, but let me get back to the neck. So once you take the neck off, shake out the excess moisture, both ends. Now this little doohickey over here, this has a little like cushiony type of end, little cloth. It's actually not really cloth, but it's a softer end, and then you got the hard bristly end. I tend not to use this. I mean, this would be used if you've got something really stuck in there, or you could see something stuck in there and you want to get it out. Just like when I clean my brass instruments, I don't use this part of this snake. Okay, I use some other types of materials. But this is good for going through the neck and pushing through and just getting all the stuff out. I'm the type of person, I brush my teeth before I play, and I do not eat before I play, yet stuff still comes out on this. You could brush your teeth from here to Sunday, use Listerine, all that kind of stuff. Stuff is still going to come out. So it is a really good idea to run something like this. If you had the neck saver, I would not store it in the neck. They can break, they can get stuck. The other thing too with the neck saver, same as the mouthpiece saver, you've got moisture in there, right? You're sticking that thing filled with moisture and it's staying in there. Stuff's going to grow. So the neck saver, it's best to pull it through one end, pull through the other end, then maybe pull it all the way through if you can, and then store it, let it dry, okay? But I wouldn't store anything in the neck. I would use either this snake or the neck saver, but don't store it in the neck. So that's the next step. Let me get this stuff out of the way. And then I would put my neck away. The neck away. I have a pouch that I put my neck in, and it also has a mouthpiece pouch that's stuck to the outside of that pouch, so that both of those can fit in my bell. So this way it fits in my case. So that's an option for you for storing. Okay, so now for cleaning the horn, I'm going to get my silk swab out again. I spoke briefly about the pad saver. Again, if you're going to use the pad saver, use the HW brand. All right, do not use the others. From my experience, having to have pulled out so many stuck ones, HW is the best one. Now, a lot of people think that for a swab, you put the weighted end in the neck portion of the horn. You don't. You stick the weighted end in the bell. Okay, so I'm going to change the camera angle so that you can see how I put the swab through the horn. Okay, so with the swab, you're going to take the weighted end, we're going to stick it in the horn, stick all the string in the horn, and now I'm going to also stick a good portion of the silk part. Now, having a good grip on the horn, make sure everything's down there, we're going to get the weighted end out the neck portion. Again, having a good grip on the horn. What I like to do, I like to wrap the string around my hand a couple of times. You need a good yank. With silk, not as much of a yank as with like cloth swabs, but you want to be able to give it a good yank. And then I let it go so it doesn't get knotted up. One time through is enough. All right, if you want, you can do it twice. It's perfectly fine. The reason why I like silk, you can wash it off very easily. Okay, wash it off and then let it dry, and it dries really quick. Silk is a very absorbent material. That's why a lot of performance gear or thermal underwear is made out of silk. It really helps to keep you warm, and it also is very absorbent. Now, what you can do after you run the swab through your horn, you can take the pad saver. And again, you could see the difference. This pad saver is very fluffy, okay, very smooth. The other pad savers are the material is very tight. It feels like if you rub it, like stuff's going to come off, so I wouldn't recommend those. But the good thing about the pad saver is that after you run the swab through, this will help to, keep the pads a little drier, and you've got the end plug replacement right here. So it's very simple. All you need to do is just stick it in the horn. Like so. Pop it all the way in, and you're good to go. The pouch that I have, I use BG. I like this because it can allow the neck and the mouthpiece to aerate a little bit, okay, and the mouthpiece can attach via Velcro or not. Sometimes if I'm using a different horn, different case, I'll just take this off and I'll put this with my my other horn. So what I like to do, I like to store my neck in the neck portion. Close that up. I take my mouthpiece, and with the Theo Wanna mouthpieces, I put the protective covering on. I put the mouthpiece in the mouthpiece patch, and I'm good to go, and it gets stored in the bell. And that is it for this basic maintenance. Now, one thing I want to point out, and I've spoken about this a number of times before, I mentioned to you about getting the extra moisture out of the mouthpiece with the mouthpiece saver, or with a clean painter's rag, some kind of rag that's clean. what you must do, you have to wash out your mouthpiece regularly. I recommend to my students at least once a week and after every time they're sick. Another thing that you really should think about is that if you find that there's a lot of accumulation in your mouthpiece, you should probably wash out your mouthpiece after every single day. You know, if you're going to school, you obviously can't do it in school, so you do it when you get home. You know, if you're a busy professional, try to make some time, because you can get buildup in the mouthpiece over time. You can get calcium deposits, and that can be a little hard to get out. In fact, with those types of situations, what you would want to do, if you're using like hard rubber or ebonite, you don't want to totally keep your mouthpiece immersed in the white vinegar solution, you know, in order to get those calcium deposits loosened. But what you would want to do is take your mouthpiece. Actually, let me take my mouthpiece out. I'm going to take the protective covering off. What you would do, you could take a cotton ball or, you know, part of a rag or something, drop a few drops of the white vinegar on there. You could shove it on the inside of the mouthpiece and keep your mouthpiece in this position. Depending on the buildup inside the mouthpiece, if there isn't much, 10 minutes, 20 minutes should be fine. It'll loosen up the calcium deposits, and then you take the rag out, you take your mouthpiece brush, and they should come off. If you've got a real big buildup in the mouthpiece, then you're going to want to leave that rag in there for you know, a number of hours or so. Any excess moisture, moisture from the vinegar that may get along the side of the mouthpiece, just wipe it off, okay? Because what it will do, it'll probably discolor your hard rubber or ebonite mouthpiece. I don't think it'll discolor the metal, but, you know, let's be on the safe side with that. And, you know, again, you take it out, use the mouthpiece brush to wash out the calcium deposit, to take out the calcium deposits. The vinegar helps to loosen it. It doesn't take it out. It helps to loosen it so that you can scrape it out. Some people have used toothbrushes. Of course, not the ones that you brush your teeth with, please. Use a toothbrush to get out the extra calcium deposits as well. But really, let's be preventative. Why not wash out the mouthpiece, you know, each day after you played, so this way, you know, you don't have to worry about that kind of buildup. Now, for some folks who have more acidity in their saliva, you may be the type of person that's going to get that kind of deposit going on in your mouthpiece. So you'll definitely want to be more preventative and clean out your mouthpiece more frequently. Okay, so that's the lowdown for cleaning out the mouthpiece, cleaning out the neck, cleaning out the instrument. There's other types of little things that you can get, little care kits with little brushes. It is a really good idea to take those little brushes and, you know, once every few months, let's say 3 months, brush away. Like you see a lot of dust that may form on the rods, on the springs. To take that brush and dust it away, you know, so this way buildup doesn't occur and makes your keys start to stick, you know, the pads start to stick even more. The other thing also to think about too is at least once a year you'll want to get your instrument totally cleaned out by a repair professional. So this way they can get rid of any buildup, any gunk, any gook that may cause you to have some problems with your key system functioning properly. Okay, so that's the lowdown. Hopefully this video helped you. Please share it with folks that are like-minded folks that play saxophone or that teach woodwind instruments. We want to make sure that, especially for younger students, that they're taking proper care of their instruments, learning how to do that from a very young age so that it just becomes a habit later on. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Have a great day.